Good morning. Welcome to Hot Seat. I'm Scott Mitchell, and our guest this morning is attorney Hannah Witten with the Witten Newman Foundation, and we're talking epilepsy and what people need to know about it. Good to have you, Hannah.
Thank you so much for having me, Scott.
Okay, epilepsy. People have heard of epilepsy. I'm not really sure that everybody understands just how impactful it is on Oklahomans and people around the world. We're going to talk about that. But let's start with this disease called epilepsy. Exactly what is it?
Epilepsy is a treatable neurological disorder that affects over 50 million people around the globe, making it one of the most common neurological disorders around the world.
So epilepsy is very impactful. It's devastating to families, not only in Oklahoma, but around the world. And so you're now working with several foundation organizations to talk about it, including Stigma, which we'll get to. But why did you get involved with epilepsy on a personal angle?
I got involved in epilepsy because my brother Dylan had epilepsy his entire life. He passed away at 25 years old in 2017 from sudden unexpected death in epilepsy, or SUUP. The first my family had ever heard of SUUP was on his death certificate. After he died, I made a promise to never stop saying his name or telling his story. And in the last 6 years, I have told his story countless times for SUUP Awareness, epilepsy research, and epilepsy stigma prevention.
So SUUP Awareness Day is in October the 18th, I believe. And what do we need to know?
Yes, SUUP Awareness Day is October 18th, 2023. It is a national day of awareness to promote SUUP awareness. As I told you, many people are unfamiliar with SUUP. In the last 6 years, I've met many families who share my story of not knowing about SUUP until their loved one's death certificate, and we have to change this so people are informed about their disease and how to prevent unnecessary and sudden death.
Let's talk about your brother's life. It obviously has inspired you to go out and do the things that you're doing right now, including a documentary we'll talk about. But what can you share with what happened with Dylan that people need to know about?
Well, there were many things people told Dylan he could not do because of his epilepsy. People told Dylan he would never graduate high school, that he would never get his driver's license, that he would never graduate college, that he would never work a full-time job or live alone. But when he passed away, he was doing all of these things and more. Dylan never let his epilepsy define his limitations, and I want to spread hope and awareness in his name.
All right, one of the things you say that impacted Dylan was stigma. Now, we talk a lot on Hot Seat, we're talking with folks like Jeff Dismukes or Terry White about stigma on mental health. But stigma affects epilepsy. Did it affect Dylan? And what do we need to know about the stigma aspect of it?
It did affect Dylan. Stigma is pervasive and complex, so any examples I give would be an oversimplification. But essentially, in developed countries, epilepsy stigma looks like barriers to employment and to lead an independent life. A seizure that lasts only seconds can lead in a total loss of driving privileges in the United States. For people in developing countries, stigma looks like barriers to access to health care and access to information regarding epilepsy, as many see it as a contagious disease or a curse.
All right, so the documentary was done with Lampstand, and you did this documentary. When people see this documentary, what should they be moved to do?
Well, our documentary features African women and the harm and isolation they face due to deeply embedded cultural beliefs, but this is bigger than a documentary. As I said earlier, all funds are going to go to the International Bureau of Epilepsy for an anti-stigma campaign on the ground in Africa, led by Africans who are best likely to situate policy there. But also, we're going to do a global social media campaign surrounding epilepsy stigma, which we hope will impact the whole globe. So you can get involved with the Curse of Stigma social medias, and you can see the trailer on YouTube. We have not released the full film yet. We're going to release the film at select international film festivals, and after the film festival circuit, we will release it to the general public.
Okay, and you see that at thecurseofstigma.org. There's where you can get all the information about this. For Oklahomans who see this in Oklahoma City and Tulsa, and they've just met you, they're learning about the documentary, they understand what's happening with epilepsy, the stigma associated. What do you want folks back home to be doing?
I hope that they get involved. I hope that they donate to this anti-stigma campaign. I hope they start talking about stigma, because it exists in every single country in America. And people with epilepsy deserve better. They deserve our support. They deserve our acknowledgement. And they deserve the ability to live life free and encumbered from stigma surrounding epilepsy.
Thanks for being on Hot Seat, Hannah.
Thank you so much, Scott.
Hannah Witten with the Witten Newman Foundation, and the documentary is at The Curse of Stigma, and learn all about that coming soon to YouTube. Thanks for watching Hot Seat. See this again at news9.com/yourvotecounts and news on6/yourvotecounts. Follow me on my socials at Mitchell Talks.